Today's topic is really Sega. Sega, the game company who gave Nintendo their biggest run for their money. The company who created by far the most aggressive campaign against a competitor.
16-bit arcade graphics.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis does.
The company who gave us hundreds upon hundreds of furry bait characters. The company who ran themselves into the dirt and pulled out of the game console industry like a man during a one-night stand. You may see Sega as the folks who gave us the likes of Sonic or Yakuza. I see them as somewhat of a graveyard. Nothing but game franchises running away while Sonic gets his own branded toaster. Hi, I'm Melody No Surname, and today, my friend John and I will be looking at our favorite skeletons in Sega's closet. So, without any further ado, let's kick it off with Sonic Riders was the third time Sega tried to put Mr. Needlemouse in or on a racetrack. The first being Sonic Drift in 1994, then Sonic Drift 2 the year after in 1995. Of course, there was also Sonic R in 1997, however, none of these attempts to pit the fastest thing alive against his friends really worked out. Then, 9 years later, Sega gave it one more shot, and we got an actually unique and memorable racing game, Sonic Riders. We see a lot of returning Sonic classics like the Blue Blur himself, his pal Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and some new characters made specifically for this game like Jet, Wave, and Storm, who are known as the Babylon Rogues.
That was an illegal left, by the way.
And of course, we have some crossovers like I from Super Monkey Ball, Knights from Knights, and Ulala from Space Channel 5. This game is probably one of the best things Sega has ever put Sonic in, aside from Cheerios or ice cream. It controls well, it looks good, and it has a whole lot of fun to it. It even has a story mode where Eggman plots to steal a very powerful Chaos Emerald by challenging Sonic and Company to a Grand Prix. It might be an odd story, but it's enjoyable and has a wacky take on the way that the cast interact with each other and move around. The sequel, Zero Gravity, gave us Silver and Blaze for his characters, as well as two more crossovers being Billy Hatcher and Amigo from Somebody Amigo with the return of Knights. This game's whole gimmick was Zero Gravity. Could you tell? It helps with tight turns, but otherwise it would have been nice to have a standard drifting in the game as well. This one takes the previous entry's take on wacky Sonic and gang antics and keeps it going.
What's wrong, Knuckles?
The legends say the Star Shard is supposed to be in this chalice. Did it roll off somewhere in the quake?
The story revolves around Jet's crew getting an Ark of the Cosmos, which can control gravity. They go out to find the other four to power, get this, Babylon Garden. Makes sense for the Babylon Rogues, I guess. And finally, Sonic Freeriders, the bastard child that no one likes to talk about. It was an Xbox Connect game that could have been reworked for the Wii, but whatever. It plays with you as the controller and in my opinion, like most Connect games, sucks ass. New characters were Vector the Crocodile, Metal Sonic, and your Xbox avatar. No crossovers this time, the plot's boring, blah. Editing this in later, but after watching the cutscenes, these look really bad. And I know I do videos where it's literally just images of a character talking, but this is coming from the games who also had, you know, actual fucking models moving around doing funny movements. What the fuck is this shit? I can tell why it did so bad. I can tell why they haven't made a new fucking Sonic Riders in so long. Holy shit. What the fuck, man? I would love to see this series come back, but I doubt it'll ever happen now that we have Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. Sonic Riders will probably remain good while it lasted. Good music, good Sega references thrown all around, and overall a unique style of charisma that no other Sonic game has really had since. I guess we'll have to see if John can sweat another racing game for now.
Hour 9099 on Garfield Kart. Let's fucking go! Only is Bug one of the earliest 3D platformers, but it was also the first one to be put onto the Sega Saturn. And It was also considered Sega Saturn's mascot of sorts. The game is great in graphics and colors, but the aforementioned 3D platforming is very limited. Even though it's not a perfect game, it's so wonderfully charming in looks and gameplay. His name is also Bug. Did I mention that? Bug! The game has you travel 18 levels across Bug Island. Like Gex, Bug is an actor. He signs up for a role in a new movie where everyone he loves is kidnapped. The sequel has Bug filming 6 movies all in one single day.
I'm a bug of action. I make action films, and you are my action stars. I signed you up for a 6-flick deal, which will be shot and completed today.
Have a unique feel to them that I just love. Both were rated pretty well and performed pretty well for the console that they were on. Even Steven Spielberg agrees, this is the character. This is the character that is going to do it for Saturn. Thanks, creator of Ready Player One, the movie.
Golden Axe is one of Sega's old arcade games that was slapped onto the Genesis and Mega Drive. It's a fantasy-like game series where your only objective is to beat the shit out of Adder's forces and return your land of Uria back to its normal state before he made a North Korea out of it. For playable characters, you can choose between the dwarf Gilius Thunderhead, whose twin brother was killed by Adder, the axe-wielding barbarian named, Axe Battler, whose mother suffered the same fate at the hands of Adder, or Tyrus Flare, who lost both parents to Adder. Oddly enough, this was the only game I recall playing as a kid where when given the option between male and female characters, I didn't choose the female. Like, look at Gilius, he's so fucking cool. She has nothing on this sex magnet. The first game was well done, but the second one was seen as nothing more than a rehash. Same characters, same visuals, different villain however. It wasn't too common in the arcade scene and the overall thoughts on it were between and pretty good. At the end of the day, it was still Golden Axe. Golden Axe 3, however, is sacrilegious. These are the playable characters. See what's wrong here? There's no Gilius. Are you kidding me? Bullshit. There is a Japan-only game where Gilius sacrifices his life to end Adder, spoiler alert, called Golden Axe The Revenge of Death Adder. What a brave soul. The final game we got was Golden Axe Beast Rider. It's not good. It at least brought back Tyrus, but there's no Gilius, so fuck this game. As a whole, the franchise needs more love in modern day. It's been 12 years and all we've got was a one-day release of a cancelled game that only served to piss people off.
In the year of 2049, or if you're watching this in present day, today, humans have all left Earth to colonize another planet, and have left robots called Orbots to clean up the mess. One of the Orbots, named Warhead, goes apeshit and decides that he's the ruler of the world, takes control of all the other Orbots, and prepares to kill any humans who dare to return. Vectorman, who wasn't on Earth during Warhead's control, has to save the world from Warhead, so Earth can go back to normal. The second game sees Vectorman fighting mutant bugs, and a fat-ass spider instead of his own kind. These games are some of the best received games I've ever seen for the Sega Genesis. I think the reception is best summarized by, if the developers keep on pumping stuff like this out, then it'll be a cold day in hell before 16-bit is dead and buried.
Now, I've already talked about this game before in my failed attempt to catalog every video game furry, so I'll be brief here. It's a Brazilian-styled rhythm game. No matter if you're looking into the Dreamcast original or the Wii sequel, it's such a beautiful game with wonderful character designs and a wonderful music selection. Now, you'll see some hate directed towards the Wii version, and that's fair. It has motion controls. People will take every second of their lives to complain about motion controls. It's sometimes the only complaint a lot of Wii games will get, and again, justified. But at least give Amigo a chance. I think he'd do wonderfully on the Switch.
To be honest here, Melody wrote the script for this video and I'm pretty much just helping. She says, and I quote, "I'm going to be honest and say, I could barely grasp the plot from Wikipedia, so I encourage you to try to make sense of it, and I really do fucking smell." The game as a whole got a load of love, ranging from a whole new controller made specifically for it to the fact that the director studied dreams and all sorts of related stuff for the project. It was received insanely well, getting 8s and 9s across the board. So good that it was the best-selling Sega Saturn game in Japan and second place around the world behind Madden NFL 97. What the fuck? A Christmas version of the game called Christmas Nights, which I'll summarize by saying the director recalled working in the peak of summer holed up at the office listening to Jingle Bells. Another cool thing about this Christmas Nights is, it's not written in the script, but there was a Sonic level in it where you actually ran around the Nights level playing as Sonic. It was really cool, and I really want to play that one day. Oddly enough, the original Sega Saturn game was ported onto the PlayStation 2 in 2008, when the sequel had come out a year prior to the Wii. Onto the topic of the sequel, like Samba de Amigo, it was played with motion controls. These don't ruin the experience entirely, as some people would say so. Please don't let that discourage you. Luckily with this one, Takashi Iizuka, a developer of the original game, has stated that he wouldn't mind working on a third entry in the series, so maybe we'll get lucky with this one.
Crazy Taxi is the only game on this list that needs no explanation, as the entire game is summarized by the title. You're a taxi driver whose objective is to get your passengers to their destination as fast as possible. Safety takes a back seat as you speed down roads and take air to make sure that these bipedal busybodies get to where they need to go in the shortest amount of time possible. I like to imagine there was at least one parent who was worried this game would teach their kid bad driving habits. You know, the parent who says, "The other drivers better be safe. There's a menace on the streets," the same day you get your driver's license. This franchise is the only one on the list that hasn't been dead for over a decade. Every other entry has not seen a new game for between 12 and 27 years, where Crazy Taxi has gotten a new game as recently as 2017. That's a mobile game. So as recently as 2014. That's a mobile game. What? Okay, so Crazy Taxi deserves this spot because its real last game was on the PSP in 2007, which was a port of Crazy Taxi 1 and 2, meaning it's not even the most recent franchise listed here to go dead. There hasn't been a new game since the Game Boy in 2003. What started as an arcade machine turned Dreamcast legend is now nothing more than a mobile game from 5 years ago. It's a sad sight and a grave worth digging up.
Now, you may be wondering why Jet Set Radio isn't at number 1. Well, you see, I got a pet peeve with this game. It's not as good as y'all make it out to be. One of the most recognizable Sega IPs outside of Sonic, despite having been borderline completely left for dead for over 2 decades, only having received a small crumb of attention from their Sega overlords. Jet Set Radio, like a good bit on this list, first touched the Sega console game on the Dreamcast. Follows the gang known as the G.I.A.N.T competing in a turf war via skating and spray painting around Tokyo shopping districts. Somehow, the plot goes from this to signing a contract with a demon to take over the world. Well, Jet Set Radio Future was an Xbox exclusive, and like the original, did incredibly well. So far to the fact that there is a FANGAME multiplayer game out there you can play right now on Game Jolt, and it is really fun. Way better than the original game in my opinion. And there is also a Game Boy version of the original game. Look at it. It's crazy, ain't it? Have unique and interesting characters and mechanics and art from real graffiti artists. The music is also a huge component on why these games are so well remembered. Hideki Naganuma, the funny Twitter man, said that it was his favorite project and has stated the sole reason he left Sega was because he judged that Sega wasn't going to make a sequel to Jet Set Radio or any successor games of it. Just pursuing his Twitter, you'll see so many references to it. He loves this damn franchise and everyone knows him as the Jet Set Radio guy.
So at this point in the script, I kind of went on a tangent about Hideki Naganuma, and I decided to just tell John to leave this part for me. But sometimes I just want to make a video on Hideki alone, like since he's such an internet oddity now that he does his own separate work on projects like Lethal League. Nintendo has said that they would never want to suppress his talents, which is why they never hired him. And we're talking about the goddamn funny Family Guy moments Twitter catboy shitpost video game music producer here. Just know that it's inevitable for this franchise to come back. Sega squeezes it into stuff like Super Monkey Ball and Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. They clearly have at least a little bit of love for it.
Now you may be wondering, why is Ristar higher on the list than Jet Set Radio? Well, you see, it's our list. We like Ristar more than Jet Set Radio. Deal with it. Ristar is a Genesis platform created in 1995, and honestly, it looks beautiful. It's filled with life and color, and there's so many well-designed features ranging from the main character himself to the enemies and backgrounds. At face value, it's really similar to Sonic, but I assure you, it's very much its own thing. The plot of the game varies a bit based on region, so I'll be summarizing the American version. A space pirate named Kaiser Greedy uses mind control to take control of the leaders of a far-off galaxy. In a John Wick turn of events, Kaiser also kidnaps Ristar's father, who is known as the legendary hero, and Ristar decides to save his father. The galaxy isn't as important as family, as you can see.
It's all about family, Tom.
Ristar started out as a Mario combatant, with Sega asking its development team to help create a mascot to rival the plumber back in the 1990s. The initial idea was a rabbit-looking guy with long ears that could grab items, but it was scrapped and replaced with Sonic the Hedgehog. The team later revisited the concept, removed the opposable ears in place for opposable thumbs that stretch like a minimum wage paycheck, and we got Ristar, who, fun fact, was originally pitched to be a successor to Sonic the Hedgehog himself. You gotta stand out. Mario jumps, Sonic runs, and in SP Ray, you have little flying things to throw up. I still can't believe this game was real, by the way. Anyways, the game works around Ristar and his stretchy arms that he could use to grab hold of enemies and headbutt them. He can also use them for unique and interesting platforming that I have never seen in any other game. This should have been in the #1 spot, but I lost a coin flip and a very not rigged wheel spin. The only reason you've probably never heard of this fantastic game is because it's the only thing to say it got sucked by the Sega Saturn. So fuck Next Generation for giving this game a 3 out of 5. This game is a 10 out of 5. Here's a quote from Ristar's designer, Akira Nishino, to end this part off. Will Ristar come back? Probably not. Of course, as a game developer, I would love to see it happen. At the time of the original, I was thinking of a sequel. It got as far as character design for that sequel, but it didn't happen for various reasons. But since fans have a say in the matter, your input is greatly appreciated.
So there are a lot of Sega IPs that they haven't touched in years. So of course we had to include a few that just couldn't fit on the list. Comix Zone, a wonderfully stylized beat 'em up on the Genesis that hasn't seen much love since its release, but does get recognized from time to time. Sega Bass Fishing, women be fucking fishing. Doki Doki Penguin Land, a cute penguin-based puzzle platformer released on Sega's first console, the rarely spoken SG-1000. Trauma Center, the funny surgeon game that I've been obsessed with recently that I now own all 5 games of. Echo the Dolphin, the weird water level game that sometimes gets shit on for being weird to control. Seaman. Regardless of if you ignore the funny name or not, Seaman is one of the weirdest things Sega has ever put their name on. They must have believed in this game a lot since there's a whole Dreamcast variant after it.
What are you doing? Stop grabbing me! Let me go, you jerk! Let me go, you jerk!
Ollie King might just be an arcade game, but definitely feel like it could do wonderfully on a home console. It's another Hideki composed game with great aesthetics all around. And now, with all of that out of the way, it's about time that we reveal #1. I'm sorry that this is #1, please don't hate me. Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg is my absolute favorite. Developed by Sonic Team and produced by Sega for the GameCube, it follows Billy and his 3 friends as he is transported from the human world to Morning Land to save the chicken elders and return their world to its original state. Haven't heard that before, have we? It's a wonderfully charming game. Everything about it is so fucking cute, from the worlds and characters to even the mechanics and gameplay. I'd kill a bitch to own this game. $60 to $100 for this when I could be buying food for my wife and kids? Well, they can survive a little longer without sustenance, now can't they? Billy has luckily not been forgotten despite the 19 years of silence. Like almost every game mentioned on this list before him, he's appeared in several Sega games since his first and final game's release. Sonic Riders Zero Gravity, as mentioned before, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, and even a slightly more obscure game called Sega Superstars for the PS2, which required the iToy. Billy Hatcher is an amazing game, and was even nominated for the first British Academy Game Award for the best GameCube game. However, it was overall poorly received with mediocre reviews and only sold about 250,000 copies worldwide, so I'm sad to say that my little chicken boy probably won't see the light of day outside of a few cameos in other games. Though he may have been designed to succeed, being created by the same man who created Sonic the Hedgehog, Yuji Naka, the game couldn't do as good as it deserved. The shoes were too big to fill, and the circumstances Billy was put into stopped him from even trying to get into them. I guess it didn't help that it was exclusively sold on one of Nintendo's lowest selling consoles. All we can really do is hope for some form of Billy Hatcher related stuff in the future, but for now it seems like it's just going to be one of Sega's deepest graves. And those were the top 10 Sega IPs with a couple honorable mentions. I personally think that each of these games deserve a little bit more love and respect, but for now, we have to deal with what we have. It could always be worse. Sega could have never made them. Could you imagine a world without Jet the Hawk? All in all, we just have to wait and see what Sega does. They're very good with listening to fans, so they know there's love for each and every one of these franchises. I can't wait to tell you how loud I would scream if I saw a new Billy Hatcher. You thought it was loud when I saw Klonoa in that Nintendo Direct recently? It would be like that, but instead of just falling onto my chair, I'd also break my leg, shit, piss, and cum.
What are you still doing here? The video's over. Go home. Go on Twitter or something. Bye. Bye-bye.